Dave Oliphant. He is quite a fixture around Austin. He's written on jazz, he's written poetry, he's taught poetry, edited the Library Chronicle forever, and he's taught at ACC, he's taught at university, and he just keeps cranking out this incredible poetry. And I was so happy to see that his book that he one of his latest books, KD, about Kenny Dornan, combine the two things that he is such an expert in, and that's jazz and poetry. And so it's just a great pleasure to have Dave sit here, come up and read to us from that and talk to us a little bit about Kenny. Thanks a lot, Dave. Oh, and there's pie. We have a lot of pie. Please. Thank you.
Well, thanks to Joe, and thanks to all of you for coming, and thanks to Gary for a wonderful reading. Really wonderful points, hard to follow that kind of an act. So my work will be quite different, but I'm going to begin with a poem that is the closest that I have ever gotten to Montana. And this is from my selected poems that was published last year by Lamar University Press. I went to Lamar. That's partly why they published it. This poem that I'm reading is called Sour Lake, and it's from my collection Memories of Texas Towns and Cities, which Joe published through Post, and the copies of it over there. So that's where it first appeared in a collection, and I put it in the selected poems as well. Sour Lake. These are real places in Texas. Sour Lake. Mad at the world for nothing I can even recall. Always at those who misunderstood. Stomped out of the house. A college dropout at 23. Too old still to be running off. Yet set on showing them all. Would hike by way of Montana and snow, perspiring then on the Texas coast. Or was it Wyoming was headed for? Just anywhere west and north. Only made it to here, some 20 miles from that Beaumont home, by midnight back in its roses bed. After all those plans for cutting lawns, doing odd jobs from town to town, where friendly folk would welcome. Here, this Canterbury tale, a stonied, had made it so far and all alone. Or to write then from Missoula or Butte. Surprise, arrived in one piece at 40 below. Saw it all on leaving the highway road, entering the brush to camp near water. Early enough to take some bearings, to build a summer fire and reap the row. Walden packed in with the match supply. Lasted perhaps an hour past dark, till mosquitoes all but carted me off. Then started for the nearest resort. Hitched a ride with a hick hot rodder. Cruised with him around this town, hardly rubbed up against the big thicket. Woods where men have wandered lost, but never wanted nor needed return, were not at a loss to see it through. Had come to touch what can't be told, nor would it ever have been believed. That kid, no romantic, bent on revenge, just out looking to pick up some tits, dropped me off at the laundromat to wait there safely in its electric light, afraid to go further and hurting to admit wasn't staying not even one night. in dejection retracing those easier steps with a heavy backward shadow from moonlight through the leaves, then spotted a sign of neon life, hayseed beer and dance, heard the amplified boom of a western band, like a heart alone deep in the woods, the silent drift of russet needles, piling up as fears at each hoot or rustle. Stood there as the couples drove out and in, asked an older set for a lift to the city, to be let off at cellars of oil well supplies, so relieved to breathe again that refinery air, had had enough of such country fragrance, of a trip to a lake of disillusion. This town could keep its sweet gum ways, its waking to songsters on dogwood limbs, its manna of pine cones and blooming azaleas.